Hello everyone and welcome to a Unity Basics video. In this video we are going to learn how to spawn an object at the position of touch or click, and we are also going to learn camera perspective. So let's start with screen position. Screen position is the position of any object touch relative to the screen, and we start from the lower left. So let's see what that means with an example. Let's go to scripts and create a C# script. Let's call it position demo and let's open that. Great. Now what we are going to do, if input dot get mouse button down, and if you don't know what this is, do check out my earlier videos on input system. This basically registers left mouse click. All right, so next we go, if the mouse is pressed, then you want to print the position. And how do we get that? So we get input dot mouse position. All right, so let's head back to Unity and link the script to something in the world. Let's create an empty object. Let's call it manager, and let's add the script position demo, and let's click play. Let's start with node 20. Here if you click somewhere, let's first go to console, click somewhere, you get a value 10582031. I clicked somewhere around here. Now notice what happens and the z-axis is 0. That's something to note and will come into play later, so take a note of that as well. I click on lower left, I get 39, 49, 50, and again z-axis is 0. So you see that if you go from here to here, the value moves closer to 0. Therefore you can think of screen world as an XY coordinate system with the origin being somewhere to the lower left. All right, now if I asked you, can you spawn a cube at this position, at the position of the click, how would you do that? Now if you think that you can use these coordinates to spawn the objects there, that would be wrong, but we will dive into how to do it correctly. And for that, first we need to understand the world position. So let's move on to world position. The world position is the game world position of objects relative to an origin. Usually we are looking at the screen from camera.main. What does that mean? So if you notice, in all Unity projects that you open, in all the scenes, you have a main camera. Now go to scene, click, select main camera and press F. You will be focused on the main camera, and that goes for anything else. You can click on any other object, press on F and it will come into focus. Now the reason I'm showing this is that this is the game exists in a 3D world, but you are typically using a 2D device to interact with it. It can be a screen, it can be a phone. Of course I'm excluding VR. And so you need a perspective to look into it, and the window for you to look into the game world is camera main. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to debug the game world position using camera.main. So let's use camera.main, and screen mouse position gives us in the screen coordinate, so screen to world point, and let's see what happens. Click play, go to simulate, click somewhere. You will always get the same coordinate everywhere. So as you can imagine, if you try to spawn something using just camera.main.screen to world point, it will be difficult for several reasons. A, this is in XY coordinate system, whereas the one that we are using to spawn, or the game world relative to each other, it's three-dimensional. So what we are going to do now is just try spawning some cubes at the position of touch. Let's see how that works out in an example. Let's go ahead and create a cube, and let's convert it into a prefab. And again, so Q game objects, prefabs is all covered in a previous video. Now we are going to access this prefab, so we need something, an access. So I'll use serialize field that will allow me to drag the prefab into this script, and it will be a game object, and we'll call it cube prefab. Next we are going to do let's get the position of the click, and let's store it somewhere. And using vector 3, which is kind of a variable which stores the three coordinates. All right, so click position, let's call it screen click position. Screen click position, input dot mouse position. Now we want to, so of course I'm using my get mouse down, mouse click. You could even be using a touch screen, but these are all two-dimensional devices, so you can only provide, the touch position will only provide two coordinates. We'll need a third coordinate, so we are going to add that manually. Let's call that screen click position dot z equals to 10f, and then we are going to spawn the cube, and you're going to use instantiate method. Again, I've covered instantiate earlier, but basically you are using the first argument that goes into it is the prefab, so the cube, okay, this should be at the top, not here. Yeah, so first you are going to use cube prefab. Second, you need to enter the world position. So for that, actually let's not do that, let's do it wrong first. Let's first see what happens if we use screen click position and quaternion dot identity, so that the rotation is 0. Let's comment out this line, and let's go back. Let's give the script the prefab, and let's see what happens. I clicked, but a cube was spawned, but we don't know where it was. If we go to this to the scene and click F on the cube, we see it, and if we click on the other clone, we again see it, but it's so far away I don't even know where it exists in the game world. It is quite possible that it's not in the main camera at all, like in the view of the main camera at all. It might be somewhere off to the side or something like that. So how do we fix that? What we do is, instead of using our screen position, we now get screen world click position, sorry, world click position, and we use camera dot main, that is the position. So everything is relative to each other, so camera dot main, and screen to world point, and give it screen click position. And now we are going to spawn at world click position, Of course, I need to instantiate it or like declare it. All right, so that should do the trick. Let's take a look again. Let's go to simulator, press play, and spawn a cube exactly where I clicked. Now to wrap up this video, let's take a look at this from a perspective of the main camera. Let's go to scene, main camera, F. You see that all the cubes are in one plane and it's in the field of view of the main camera. Therefore, we are able to view it. So this method will work for both clicks as well as touch screen. Now you know how to spawn an object in at a particular click or touch. Hope you like this video. If you learned something, do share it, like, and subscribe. Thank you.